Italy plans to restrict nascent cannabis light industry, and this is by Francesco Piscarelli and Crispin Balmer with Reuters. Rome, November 12th. Italy's flourishing cannabis light industry risks being uprooted this year when Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni pushes a bill through parliament to deflower a crop that is legal across much of Europe. The looming legislation is part of a broad range of measures being introduced by Meloni's arch-conservative coalition, looking to burnish its credentials as the defender of public morality and traditional social structures. While marijuana production is illegal in Italy, Parliament 8 years ago authorized trade in hemp, a cannabis variety which is grown for its industrial uses and non-psychoactive uses. Meloni's government says the 2016 law was too lax and wants to ban any product deriving from the hemp flower, infuriating local entrepreneurs who say the move could cost thousands of jobs and imperil millions of euros in investments. It's absurd that a state which put Italian businesses to work by starting a legitimate supply chain now wants to shut it all down, said Alisco Amacone, who founded a company that grows and sells cannabis products called Cannabando. They are waging a war on a substance that is not a drug, he told Reuters. Hemp contains very low levels of THC, meaning it can't make you high, unlike marijuana, which comes from a separate variety of the cannabis family. By contrast, it contains higher concentrations of CBD, known for its potential therapeutic effects, such as reducing anxiety, pain, and inflammation, which mainly derives from the inflorescence, the flowering part. But the government says anti-drug departments liken products made from the flower to recreational drugs, saying in a statement they could pose a risk to public safety and road safety. As a result, it has decided to ban their sale. Producers contest this, saying that the aromatic flowers have a negligible psychotropic component, one that affects how the brain works, and are a vital ingredient for the supply chain that spans food, textiles, and cosmetics. The hemp lobby, Federcanapa, says 70 to 80% of the income from hemp cultivation is derived from the flower. Producing without the inflorescence is like saying you can only grow wheat by decapitating the ear. What sense does it make from an economic perspective, says Stefano Massani, head of the environment unit at Italy's farming lobby, Coldiretti. The proposed flower ban is included in a broader security decree that combines an array of disparate measures, including a clampdown on demonstrations. Oh yeah, that's good for democracy. Squats and sit-ins, as well as tough new curbs on prison protests. It has already been approved by the lower house of parliament and is now before the upper house Senate. Critics say the bill is part of an drift in Italy under Meloni, who has reserved her most radical actions during her 2 years in office on social issues, such as her current criminalization of surrogacy parenthood. Yeah, because that needs to be enforced against. The problem lies with the ambivalent way the original 2016 law was written. Sound familiar, Americans? The government says this, and it sanctioned the sale of cannabis light, but stipulated that it should not be smoked or eaten. The law makes no specific mention of the flowers. As a result, the flower is often packaged as a collector item that should not be consumed, a rouse that fools no one. The government wants to try to end this legal gray area. The government's amendment is absolutely necessary, said Augusta Montrulelli, a member of Meloni's Brothers of Italy party, who has championed the bill in Parliament. If anyone was hoping to operate within legal cannabis, that's not possible with us, she told Reuters. The government's hard line makes no sense to CBD advocates who say the compound helps to take the edge off stress, giving you a gentle buzz without getting you stoned. Cannabis light contains a very small amount of the active ingredients of marijuana. It has no psychotropic effect. It is used for pain relief, relaxation, etc., said a well-known virologist and senator for the opposition Democratic Party. The decision to remove the flower from the cannabis supply chain was shameful and devoid of scientific logic, he said. Hemp cultivation has been approved by the European Union and has grown across the continent, including in neighboring France and Switzerland. Germany went one step further in February by joining Malta and Luxembourg in legalizing marijuana use. And Rafael Desciante, head of the Italian Hemp Entrepreneurs Group, said there are some 3,000 Italian companies operating in the sector with 10,000 full-time employees and annual turnover of around 500 million euros. Roughly 90% of the Italian product is exported, he said. The government argues that the industrial hemp supply chain need not be affected by banning the use of the flower, but those working in the sector, such as such and such, the owner of a cannabis light shop, said it would be economic suicide. Based on Rome's Garbatella neighborhood, I can't pronounce all these words, from Italy, where Maloney grew up, Sarkanseni says flower products make up at least half of his sales. We feel like we're holding our breath, unable to work, unable to think about the future or investment because we're in total uncertainty, he said. Hi, vey, and you thought the Farm Bill was FUBAR in the United States of America. Sounds like our brothers and sisters there in the boot are getting the boot. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. I hand it back to the rest of you.
Man, so this is Italy. Go ahead.
This is Italy.
Italia.
Motherfucker.
You gotta make the rules. You gotta read the story with your hand up like that.
Yeah.
You gotta really read.
I was under the.
That's how they hold their THCA joints. Like.
Right.
Yeah, I was confused by that. Is this for like Delta 8 and Delta 9, or like what is this actually
All hemp
for?
products.
All hemp products.
All hemp products.
Hemp
all
flower,
hemp
man.
flower.
Got it.
I think in 2016 they allowed like the like growing of industrial hemp without like a certificate or something like that, so people could do it. But I feel like I might be guessing. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. The Italian government, the army specifically, is actually doing cannabis cultivation for export in Italy. Can anyone confirm that? Because that's I thought that Italy.
I've heard that in the past.
Yeah, Italy and Portugal, to my understanding, were two of the first EU countries that were actually cultivating. And I know that Italy had some program where it was military. Done by military doctors and researchers in some certified place that they can do that or whatever. But this other thing about the industrial hemp is separate from that, I believe, and that just pertains to anything below a certain level of THC industrial use. But I'm sure they've caught on to the THCA fat here in the States, and that's probably why they're trying to shut this down. But Italy's got a lot of political issues, if you want to call them that, or a situation that revolves around a lot of influence, let's say. So, I'm sure it's pretty interesting over there in general. So let's see what happens. But if the EU is pushing, if Germany is going and moving to a pharmacy-based retail situation with cannabis, and all these other countries are starting the EU GMP certification program for their products, I mean, is push going to come to shove and they're just going to get that product in? Are we going to hear about Italy allowing products in the future? What do we think is going to happen?
Yes, you are correct. According to Benzinga, it's true. Italy's army is in charge of growing and producing top-grade medical marijuana and is using secret nutrients to cultivate cannabis for those suffering from illnesses.
What's their secret nutrient? Miracle Grow?
Their secret sauce recipe.
Right.
It's all Miracle Grow they're using, you guys. It's all Miracle Grow.
They plan to grow 1,500 pounds this year.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, my last name is Razani. It's okay. I do it.
Man. Ambiguously ethnic.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I want to be.
Ambiguously ethnic. I like that.
Export me.
And for this story alone, the Italians are not white at all.
Oh, boy.
It's troubling to see conservative groups in any country think that their best play is to go back to these basic foundational biases that somehow are supposed to telegraph to the populace that they're strong on family values, strong on the traditions that benefited the country in the past, and with that sort of breathe air or oxygen and fan the flames of cannabis stigma. And so I think that's challenging when we're seeing countries not so far away from Italy, like Germany, really start to figure and configure how they're going to have medical and adult use and programs that work better than not. And then you got Italy taking it back 2,000 years. This just seems like a Roman ruins policy to me.
Fair. Oh, did I hear Jenny just pop in?
I mean, the Italian mafia, arguably the strongest and most powerful trap of all time. You know, to say that they're not going to partake in the hemp industry, like, yo, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
With my guy Trapazzani over here.
You gonna take the basketball away from Michael Jordan's son? No. They gonna get in on this, man.
Interesting. Well. Into Italy.
Shout out to Italy, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to getting it.
I guess the trap's gonna be alive and well out there.
There's a lot of great Italians in the cannabis space. Shout out to all the Italians.
Is there a big black market for hemp products?
Yeah.
People like standing on the corner looking at, hey man, give me some hemp.
Hey,
Bro, have you been following like the olive oil market and the shortage over the last couple of years? Like
that's because they're literally burning down olive trees in the Middle East, man. Like there's an olive shortage because there's that's not the only, Italy's not the only producing.
So you guys are telling me that olive oil is the European version of avocados in the U.S.
Well, there's a ton of counterfeit olive oil. Like being passed, and people are getting robbed and shit. People are like,
so was it just Crisco?
Trees and shit
just
like
Crisco
that?
rebottled?
I was today years old when my son was telling me very recently about this issue and wanting to make sure that the olive oil that we were buying was not counterfeit, and then explaining to me certain ways that you can gauge whether it's counterfeit or not.
Is it by the viscosity?
You gotta put it in your hand like this, Jason.
You got to play your smallest violin with the oil, lubing it up
and down.
Todd over there is trying to fucking milk a cat. Okay, stop that, Todd. We don't do that shit. We haven't done that since Meet the Fockers. Cut it out. And when you do, you never lube a cat's nipples. You know that. It's always better dry.
Mm-hmm.
But
you like it better dry.
But there are, chafing aside, there are some products where counterfeiting is a huge issue, and olive oil apparently is one of them.
Yeah. Well, now it's going to be MCT.
So is maple syrup.
And what does that have to do with black market hemp?
It's all related, Todd.
The Illuminati controls it all, Todd. Don't you know? Didn't you get the Cliff Notes before the show?
It all goes back to Barack Hussein Obama.
Who wasn't even born in this country.
Come on, guys. It's called Canadian maple syrup.
I need to see a long form COA.
I need to see a birth certificate.
A long form COA pronto.
You guys are crazy.
Standardized COAs again.
You guys,
COA's great.
You this rolling, Jason. We got next.
Yeah, we're gonna roll into a commercial. We're gonna be right back.
Oh, the only Italian wasn't present.
It's getting out of hand.
Rude.
Oh, there she is. What do you have to say, Jenny?
Yeah, Forza Azzurre.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Keep it pushing.